Brian Jordan Alvarez, season one of English Teacher has finished airing, but you are doing some of the best post-season promo work I've ever seen because you are partaking in the I love your daughter TikTok trend.
Yes.
You're very committed. So, one, how long are you going to continue this? And two, are your arms tired from taking off your shirt?
My arms are not tired yet. I go to the gym. I keep them ready for more. But that is a great question. And I am definitely in the moment where I'm asking myself, how long am I going to keep doing this? For now, it's still getting traction. I'm still getting, hundreds of thousands of views whenever I do it. And I've actually never ridden a trend like this. So your guess is as good as mine of when I'll be done with it. But for now,
Maybe
it's pretty good.
until season two, right? Can you last?
Exactly. I mean, that would be great.
Or at least the announcement of season two.
That would be great too. Yeah, exactly. Both of those would be good natural stopping points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love the show. It's great. My favorite new show of the year. And one thing that I love so much about it is your pilot, because I think pilots are so hard, and there's so many
Yeah.
great shows with not so great pilots, but your pilot is amazing. And it I love it because it feels like I've always known these characters and I've been
Yeah.
watching them for like 2 years already. And like even though like they're talking about like their history, like I feel like, oh, I can drop in and like can catch up and it feels
Amazing.
fully formed. And this might sound like a stupid question, but like was that the goal of the pilot for you guys?
It definitely was, but I'll tell you, we got very lucky with one element of that, and I do think it's part of why that happened, which is the scene where you meet all the characters in the cafeteria, and it feels so comfortable and it feels so natural. That was our third time shooting that scene. And the time that you're seeing in the pilot, the version of it that you're seeing in the final pilot, we actually shot when we were already 6 episodes into shooting season one. So we were all really comfortable with each other. We were also very comfortable with the scene because we had done that scene so many times that we were almost riffing on riffs of riffs of riffs. You know what I mean? It's like we knew on a basic level what the scene was about, but we also shot that version, the final version, in a very particular way. We cross shot it. And most of the show, we do not cross shoot. Now, this means that we're getting both sides at the same time. So you really can talk over each other and the camera's catching all of it. So I think all of that together conspired to make that scene really magical and really feel like these characters were really comfortable with each other, which then makes the audience feel so comfortable with the characters. But I think in a way, we were very blessed for that to happen, or we got lucky that we had to shoot that so many times. And of course, when you're doing it, you're going, oh, this is annoying that we need to shoot this scene again, but let's just do it. But then it ended up being hugely to the show's benefit because I don't even think how much I realized, like, oh, this is the first time meeting the characters, and it's so good that they're so comfortable together.
Yeah, like that whole conversation, the banter of like, oh, that teacher's on Amazing Race. And I was like, I'm already
Exactly.
in.
TED Talk. Yeah, exactly. You can feel that these people really know each other well. And the truth is we did by then. So we were very lucky.
Hmm. And how much of that is just knowing you can trust the audience to respond that way? Like, because I feel like pilots also do too much setup sometimes, like with the intro when doing exposition.
Yeah, I think a cat has just leapt onto
Hello.
this. Um, I think I think our general feeling is if we get it, the audience gets it. And we trust our audience. Um, we know that people are smart and that they do catch things. And I think we really trust the audience to keep up. And something I often say is we almost want the audience to feel like they're playing catch up sometimes because that's that's the level of attention span I'm aiming for because I have a short attention span. So for something to really captivate me, I need to be like, okay, I can't look at my phone or I'm going to miss something. I'm going to miss a joke, I'm going to miss a plot point. And so I think we write to that kind of audience and it's worked in our favor and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, sure.
You can hop off now.
He can stay.
Okay.
I love how you guys just navigate all the, I guess, hot button topics
Mm.
every episode. And I think it's so smart and it's so subversive sometimes and also really funny and true. And um, maybe this is too extreme a word, I don't know, but it feels radical in that way, like the way you flip
You.
some things on its head, like in the finale at the beginning when Eddie comes out to Evan. And I feel like in media, you're so used to seeing coming out moments as portrayed really emotionally, and Eddie just or Evan just shuts him down. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, go talk. It's 2024. Talk to
Yeah.
kids out there.
I
And
remember when we discovered that moment in the writer's room, we were like, I think this is gonna really hit as a good, just as a good captivating moment. And I do think it worked. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, what was it like finding that and like knowing like, oh, can you go there? Or were you by then, since it's the finale, you were comfortable doing moments like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think with hot topics in general, somehow we just found in the voice of the show that we could handle this stuff, that there was a certain perspective, or even I would say the show has a certain empathy and intelligence that allows us to really look at things that can be uncomfortable conversations. But if you portray all of your characters with empathy and intelligence and as people who are doing their best, then you can talk about these things. And not only that, but they can become very funny, you know? And then I think also it's to FX's credit and to Paul Sims's credit how much the show leads with comedy. And then that buys you a lot as well, where you're going, look, we're talking about heavy stuff sometimes, but we're going to keep you laughing. We're going to keep it light. We're going to keep in mind that, you know, that there's comedy in life as well.
Mhm.
So it's just something about the tone of the show that we found early on in the writer's room that I think has given us an ability to talk about these things. And I'm glad we did.
Yeah, I like the fourth episode with Gun Club. I thought that was so well done. And the way you guys present both perspectives, and you like in general, you guys never come down on a right or wrong answer. It's just like these are the sides.
Right. We're just trying to look at life in a real way, you know, and really look at the way things are happening and look at the way even people really interact with each other. Um, so yeah, I'm glad you liked that episode. That is a really special episode. And even, it doesn't get as much credit as the A story, but the B story in that episode of Gwen
Oh my God, that
being
was so
obsessed
funny.
with this list is so funny. And the payoff at the end where you find out that Jeff is doing it, but then actually he just wants her to dress better. It's like it's a really special
When
episode.
he presents like the
Yeah, some looks
all
for
the
with a bunch
look, the
of like
lookbook for
stock
her.
photos. Yeah,
Oh my,
exactly.
and I just love the way she was changing her outfits and her look, the whole when you were like, why are you dressed like Aaron Brockovich?
Yeah, I know. I'm glad you got that because when we were doing it, I was actually thinking, is this too subtle, the shift in looks from scene to scene? But I think what ended up working was that it plays very real. It's like she is sort of going up this scale, but in a very realistic way.
hmm how did you land on the school being the setting? Because I think it's perfect for this, melting pots of cultures, perspectives, and the different generations, and also setting it in a city like Austin, which is very liberal in a conservative state.
Exactly. You're right on the money with even how you're describing that because it's that a school is this place where people from every different part of life are forced to interact toward a goal, a common goal of educating these students, and especially a public school. You're going to get every perspective in that space. And I knew that there would be a lot of comedy in that. And then Austin, being a blue bubble in a red state, is very similar to the high school that I went to, which is St. Andrews Sewanee, which is in a little town called Sewanee in Tennessee, which is a very liberal little pocket in Tennessee, which is broadly more conservative. And so that just felt familiar to me. And I had such intellectual English teachers growing up, especially at that high school, St. Andrew Sewanee. I had Claire Reichman and Tom Gladstone and Phil White. These were teachers that were like, I don't know, they were just looking at things in a very deep way. It was almost spiritual the way we were going through the texts and really understanding them. And so that just stayed with me. And I even think at that school, I largely learned how to write there because I'm not trained as a screenwriter. I haven't taken classes in that, but my ability to write, I do think was largely developed in my high school, St. Andrews Swanning.
Have they seen the show?
I think they have. I know Phil White, my freshman English teacher, he I don't know if he's retired or not now, but he's always posting about it. And I know there was a sweet email going around Swanee, that town, because it's a university town because the university that's there is called the University of the South, Swanee. And my mom teaches there. She teaches Spanish. And my mom's a teacher, my sister's a teacher, so it's sort of in my family. But there was a sweet email going around Swanee that was saying, Tom Gladstone, Claire Reichman, and Phil White just got mentioned on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me on NPR. You guys tune in. So yeah, I think they've seen it, and I'm glad to give them shout outs. I have so much respect for teachers, and
We're gonna make them
uh,
famous. Teachers deserve our
yes, we're gonna make them famous. Exactly. Yeah, it's a job that is so much harder than mine in so many ways. So I'm just grateful for teachers.
for sure. I also love how real and specific the students feel. I love Becca and Tiffany, and I love Kayla syndrome. That whole I felt like you guys really got like girl culture in high school.
Yes,
So
yes.
like I mean like I'm around your age. I'm an old millennial. So like what is your the makeup of your writers room and just writing for the younger voice like that?
Yeah, we have a lot of different ages in our writers' room too. And then we also, Paul Sims, our executive producer, he's sort of our big EP and he's the godfather of this project. And he's the one that came to me and said, let's make a TV show. He has kids of his own. Jonathan Kreisel has kids. And then, so I think some of it is us, learning from all of that, learning from some of our younger writers. And then also, I think the biggest thing maybe is just I'm on TikTok so much. Like it truly is one of my main sources of entertainment. And on, Twitter and Instagram. And I just I love online humor. I love the way people talk online. And I do feel kind of hip to the jive of how people talk today and the things they're arguing about or agreeing on. And so I think it comes from there too.
Hmm. Well, speaking of like you found fame online first, and so now what is it like shifting to TV and just you're making stuff of your friends, but now on TV and you're running a whole TV show and signing off on stuff and you're directing too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it does feel like a nice natural progression. Like I knew I would get here. I didn't know when. Making amateur things with my friends for no money was you know, fun and I learned a lot in that process of cinematography. And I was also, before I was even making stuff on YouTube, I was making movies with my parents' handy cam at 12 years old. Like I've had that bug for so long. And so it does feel so natural to me to be on finally a real professional set, show running, directing, writing some of these scripts, working with all these amazing writers, working with Jonathan Kreisel, an amazing director, working with Kate Dean, our amazing line producer, who also directed a really great episode this season. Um, it feels comfortable and natural. And that's also to the credit of these great guides I have. I mean, when I don't know how some part of this process goes, I can ask Paul Sims, like, what do we do here? Or I can ask Jonathan Kreisel, like, how does this lighting setup work? I've never done this. And I remember Kreisel, even just these very simple things like showing me, like, hey, we're gonna have to plan this shoot day around the sun because you need the sun basically to be behind people. These simple things where I just had never operated on a set as the director and producer with this much money that I would even know that. I was just used to just a camera and a couple of
You have a
buddies.
ring
So
light. Yeah, so it's
yeah,
fine.
exactly.
Well, one of the episodes you directed was the fifth one, and that features, I would say, the star of the season, Sharon. Um, so first of all,
That's a
what are we
hot
going to
take.
do to make sure
Yes,
Andrew Ward Hammond gets an Emmy nomination and an Emmy
I,
for this?
we gotta get her the nom. I know she's unreal. People have said that one thing our show does so well is it really um, is generous about handing over the spotlight to these amazing guest stars, and I love that because Andreen Ward Hammond, Jen Lyon, who played Linda, like these are geniuses, and they've done a lot of big, great work before. But I'm really glad that they're getting their flowers more than ever for these parts. Yeah, Andreen is, I mean, she is transcendent in that role, and I'll tell you, we were looking at auditions for that part, and a lot of them were very funny, but they were all being funny, right? So they were all doing a comedic performance. And then I got to her tape, and her performance was pure drama. It was like she was literally in a movie that was going to win an Oscar, and the most serious thing in the world was happening. These kids were playing Stoneface or whatever. And so it really jumped out at me, and I FaceTimed all the writers that night, and I said, watch this audition tape, we have to cast this woman. And we just, no callback or anything, we just cast
It's
her. We
perfect.
don't.
I mean, that's how you have to play because this is her life's mission, basically.
Exactly, it's
Yeah.
very serious work. Exactly, and I think we do that a lot. We cast people who are great at comedy but are also really actors. Enrico Colantoni, who plays the principal in our show,
Oh
who's
my,
so
he's so great. Yeah.
he's
He's
so
so
brilliant.
exasperated.
He was. I know he's so exasperated. He's so put upon, and he's a Yale drama trained actor. He's been in a million dramatic things. Like it's like the comedy in the show so much of the time comes from how dramatic people are being, and I love that. And I just love. There's so many good acting performances in the show, and I just feel honored to get to be in something like that. And even like Stephanie Koenig, my best bud, she is not only in our writer's room, but her acting performance on the show is transcendent. She regularly books dramatic parts. She was a huge lead of this show, Lessons in Chemistry, and it's a full drama. Like she is an actor, and then the comedy comes out of that. So I love that.
Yeah, for sure. And I love you and Jordan Firstman as well. I love just
Yes, he's
the
good.
Malcolm and Evan relationship is so messy, and I love that too. Because
Thank
again,
you.
I do feel like sometimes on TV, especially with the gay relationships, it feels a
Yes,
little idealized. And I love
right,
that he
right.
chose Malcolm in the finale.
Good. Were you surprised or were you expecting it?
I was surprised in the moment because obviously everyone was telling him to go for Harry, and then
Right,
when
right.
he
Set it up like that. Yeah.
yeah, but the setup was good, and then when he went in for the kiss with Malcolm, I was like, of course, and I
Right,
love
right.
that he
They're made
he
for
let
each other. They're perfect together.
yeah, and he's like he's at an orgy, and then he comes back at the end. I was like, this is a nice ending.
I love that you love that. Yeah, I love that too. It really arose so organically out of the writer's room and out of casting Jordan. We just found all of that very slowly and naturally, like how real that relationship felt. And I love how it ended up playing.
Yeah. Well, I'd be remiss if I don't mention the bangers, your music cues, the needle drops.
Yes,
And I think
yes.
this goes back to what you were saying earlier, like you don't want people to miss anything. And you usually start every episode with an amazing 80s tune.
Yeah, it's like get
And it's
in,
like
get
you're
on
like
board. Here we
in,
go.
yeah,
Yes,
you're like
yes.
locked in. And what is it like choosing the music? Like, is it hard clearing any of them? And do you just have like a playlist that you want
It's
to
so
like hit?
fun. Yeah, I mean, so I grew up just on 80s music. My dad is addicted to 80s pop hits, and so I just got that from him, and he still listens to them all the time. And so that's just some of my favorite music, and it's always in the script. But the process is quite joyful because what happens is, it was always the plan to open and close every episode with a big 80s hit, and so we would write a lot of them in. But I would say a third to half of them end up having to be replaced because some songs are too expensive, but I think what people don't know is other songs don't clear at all. Other songs you cannot put on, like they just aren't available to purchase for a TV show. So then Jen Ross, our incredible music supervisor, steps in and she says, well, here's 10 other songs that are also 80s hits that you can have, and they're pretty affordable. And you go, wait a minute, I like this song on this list even better than the one we had. Like for instance, and this one actually is not an 80s song, but on the camping trip with Sharon, we sing this song, You Get What You Give, that also ended up being the
Iconic
anthem.
song.
So good. Yeah. And sort of like it's right. It's time for that song to come back. It's like I
Yeah.
guess it was from
And
maybe
that's
20
also a song like that song came out when I was in high school and it made like for like Evan and Gwen too.
exactly the
Like
same. Right. It's very nostalgic.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So that song was not what we had originally written for, but Jen Ross was like, well, here's a list of options. And we were like, wait, this is such a cool choice. Like playing guitar of You Get What You Give, and then having Sharon come in and doing the rap at the end. It was so funny. So yeah, Jen Ross, we have an incredible music supervisor. And I text with her like every other day, even now, just saying, how much does this song cost? Is this clearable? Because the first question is always, I didn't know this before going into a big production like this, but the first question is always, is this song for sale? Like some songs just they don't clear, or other songs, and people don't know this. I think I didn't know. Other songs have a policy where they go, you can buy this song, but you need to buy this re-recording that they did.
It's
Have
like
you
not
heard
the
of it?
masters.
It's
Yeah.
right. They redid the master so that the artist makes all the money, which is very good, and I support that. But sometimes you want the original, and you can't have that. So it's an interesting world. But Jen Ross was
Mhm.
so instrumental in guiding us
Yeah.
through it.
Well, you said you've been texting her, so is that a tease for season two?
Oh, sorry, my mistake. No teasing.
You're not
Just
texting her about any songs at all.
just texting her. How's your day? Yeah, love the music in season one. But
Great
yeah,
job.
a great job. Everybody loves the music. Yeah, she was amazing. I remember when we interviewed her, we were like, "Do you know 80s music?" And she was like, "I absolutely know 80s music." And she had really delivered. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, what can you say about a potential second season?
All I can say is, as always, I would be excited to make as much of this show as I possibly can. I think I'm allowed to say this. Is anyone else do I have somebody on the call with me? No, it's just us, huh?
It's just you can say whatever you want.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, I would be excited to make as much of this show as possible. And I've loved I've loved not only making this show in season one, but the audience reaction has been more than I could ever hope for. I mean, it's just like people really, and you really got what we were doing. You really got it. And there's always a chance that you'll miss that mark. And we didn't miss that mark. And it means the world to me because we worked so hard on it. Like we were, shooting a TV show, it's like the longest days of your life. It's so fun, but it's such work. And I'm just so grateful that it worked because I really love the show.
Yeah, it definitely worked. You just do more I Love Your Daughters and then we'll get the renewal.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Exactly.
well, Brian, it was great speaking with you. Thanks so much for your time. And yeah,
Pleasure.
season two, let's go.
Yeah, and thank you for watching the show over and over. Really
Of
means so
course.
much to me. Yeah.